What if one small supplement, something most doctors don't even mention, could help calm the inflammation that quietly chips away at your joints, your energy, even your memory? And yet, most people over 60 aren't taking it. This one compound has been studied for decades, shown in clinical trials to support brain health, joint comfort, and even mood. But it's often left on the shelf, unnoticed, misunderstood, and underused. And no, we're not talking about turmeric, fish oil, or a multivitamin. We're talking about a compound that works behind the scenes, at the cellular level, to help quiet the chronic inflammation that comes with age. If you're over 60 and care about staying strong, focused, and independent, this is something worth knowing. There's a simple compound that could help support how you move, think, and feel, but most people overlook it, and doctors don't always bring it up, not because it's unsafe, not because it doesn't work, but because, like so many things in health, it's not flashy. It's not new. It just works quietly, in the background, where you might not feel it immediately, but your body does. And when it's missing, you may not notice it first, but over time, the difference adds up. Stick with me until the end. We'll cover the surprising mistakes most people make with this supplement, including when to take it, what to pair it with, and one thing you should never combine it with. And if you're getting value from this, do me a quick favor. Hit that like button, share it with someone who might need it, and consider subscribing. It's free, and we share weekly health tips to help you feel your best at every age. Let's start with something most people don't realize. After the age of 60, your body's natural ability to regulate inflammation gets weaker. That's a normal part of aging. The problem? Inflammation doesn't always show up with a fever or pain. It can build slowly, behind the scenes. And this is where the supplement we're talking about comes in. Alpha-lipoic acid, or ALA. You've probably heard the name, but here's what you may not know. ALA is a naturally occurring compound your body makes in tiny amounts. It helps turn glucose into energy. But its real power? It's one of the few antioxidants that works in both water and fat, meaning it can go just about anywhere in your body, your brain, your nerves, your heart. And as we age, our natural ALA levels drop. That matters because ALA does something unique. It helps recycle other antioxidants like vitamin C and E. It's like giving your internal cleanup crew a second wind. But here's the catch. The amount your body makes after 60 usually isn't enough to get the full benefits. You might be thinking, well, I already take antioxidants. And that's great. But ALA does more than just add to the pile. It helps restore your antioxidant network when it's been worn down by age, stress, or illness. According to the Cleveland Clinic, alpha-lipoic acid has been studied for its potential to support nerve health in older adults, especially those dealing with peripheral neuropathy, a condition that affects balance, sensation, and daily comfort. And while it's not a miracle cure, nothing is, the research is encouraging. But despite its promise, ALA is rarely found in multivitamins, and when it is, the dose is often too small to matter. That question gets even more important when you start reading the labels, because not all ALA supplements are created equal. And if you've ever glanced at a bottle, seen the words alpha-lipoic acid, and moved on, you're not alone. Here's why that matters. Many store-bought ALA supplements are packed with fillers, underdosed, or use a form of ALA that your body doesn't absorb well. And after 60, absorption becomes more than just a technicality. It's the difference between feeling a change and wasting your time. You see, your digestion slows with age. Stomach acid declines. Nutrients don't always reach your cells as efficiently as they once did. So the delivery system, the form of a supplement, suddenly becomes critical. And when it comes to alpha-lipoic acid, there's another layer to consider: RALA versus SALA. Most people have never heard of this, but it makes a difference. RALA is the naturally occurring, bioactive form, the one your body actually recognizes and uses. SALA is the synthetic mirror image, cheaper to produce, but not as effective. Many standard ALA supplements contain a 50-50 blend, which waters down the potency. If you're over 60 and trying to actually feel the benefits, less joint stiffness, clearer focus, more stable energy, RALA may be the better route. But it's rarely listed clearly on the label, and most people don't know to look for it. And here's something else worth knowing. Dosage matters. Most clinical studies showing benefits for seniors used doses between 300 and 600 milligrams daily, not the 25 milligrams you find in many multivitamins. That's why someone might take it and feel nothing. It's not that it didn't work, it's that it wasn't enough to matter. A recent summary from the Journal of Clinical Pharmacology pointed out that alpha-lipoic acid has a dose-dependent effect, meaning too little won't give you the anti-inflammatory support you're looking for, especially if you're already dealing with low-grade inflammation or nerve-related discomfort. So if you've tried ALA in the past and brushed it off because nothing happened, you may not have been giving your body the right form or the right amount. Here's the part that really hits home for a lot of people. Inflammation looks different in your 60s and beyond. It's not always about pain or swelling. Sometimes it shows up as slow recovery. Brain fog, low resilience after minor illness, a general feeling of just not bouncing back like you used to. That's called inflammaging, and yes, it's a real thing. Researchers at the NIH describe inflammaging as a chronic, low-level inflammatory state that gradually builds as we age. It doesn't come from injury or infection. It's driven by the natural wear and tear of cells over time. And while it may not feel dramatic day to day, it quietly increases your risk for a whole range of issues: arthritis, type 2 diabetes, even cognitive decline. Now here's the encouraging part. Lifestyle still matters. Diet, sleep, activity. They all help reduce inflammation. But when your body's antioxidant systems are already under pressure, adding in something like alpha-lipoic acid can give your cells the backup they need. Think of it this way. If inflammation is like a fire that never quite goes out, ALA helps your body manage the smoke, the heat, and the long-term damage that comes with it. And once you start feeling that difference, steadier energy, less nerve tingling, clearer thinking, you realize just how much those small fires were holding you back. But there's one more piece to the puzzle. And this is where things get really interesting. And once you start feeling that difference, steadier energy, less nerve tingling, clearer thinking, you realize just how much those small fires were holding you back. But here's the thing. Not everyone notices right away when something's helping. Sometimes the real wake-up call happens after people stop taking it. There was a small but compelling study a few years ago, not widely covered, but worth mentioning. Researchers were looking at older adults who had been supplementing with alpha-lipoic acid for several months. Many of them reported subtle but meaningful improvements: steadier balance, less foot numbness, and even better concentration. But when they were taken off it, within just a few weeks, most participants reported a return of symptoms they'd nearly forgotten about. A few even described it as a fog coming back, or feeling slower again. One man in his late 60s said, "I didn't notice how much it was helping until it was gone." Now, no supplement is a magic fix, and of course individual results will always vary. But this reflects something we often forget. The most powerful health tools aren't always dramatic. They're consistent, quiet, subtle, like a well-oiled engine. You don't always hear the difference, but you feel it when it stops running smoothly. There's also growing interest in alpha-lipoic acid for nerve support, particularly for seniors experiencing neuropathy symptoms, like tingling feet, numbness, or burning sensations in the hands and legs. The Mayo Clinic notes that ALA has shown promise in helping reduce these symptoms, especially when used alongside other healthy habits like blood sugar management and regular movement. It's not a cure, but for many, it's a form of relief they hadn't found elsewhere. And the mechanism? ALA supports nerve cell metabolism and helps protect delicate nerve tissues from oxidative stress. That's the wear and tear caused by unstable molecules, which builds up as we age. What makes this even more compelling is that ALA crosses the blood-brain barrier, meaning it doesn't just work in your body, it may support your brain as well. There's early evidence suggesting it might help with cognitive health too, especially in aging adults, where oxidative damage is believed to contribute to memory loss and reduced processing speed. Again, the research here is still evolving, and no one is saying this replaces proper treatment. But Harvard researchers have pointed out that targeting inflammation may be a key strategy in preserving brain health, and compounds like ALA could be a helpful part of that equation. So, what does this all mean for your daily life? It means if you're already eating healthy, staying active, and doing the right things, but still feeling a little off, your cells might need backup. A little extra help managing the quiet inflammation that tends to build with age. And for that, alpha-lipoic acid may be one of the most overlooked and underappreciated allies out there. But before you rush to the supplement aisle, there are a few practical things to consider: when to take it, what to avoid pairing it with, and how to make sure you're actually getting your money's worth. That's where most people slip up, and it's easy to fix once you know what to look for. Let's talk about timing first. Alpha-lipoic acid is best taken on an empty stomach, either 30 minutes before eating or 2 hours after. Why? Because food, especially fatty meals, can interfere with how your body absorbs it. That's especially true for older adults, whose digestive efficiency may already be slower. And here's another helpful tip: consistency over intensity. More isn't always better. You don't need megadoses. In fact, most people over 60 do well with a daily dose between 300 and 600 milligrams, depending on your size, overall health, and sensitivity. Some people split the dose, half in the morning, half later in the day, to maintain stable levels and avoid any minor side effects like mild nausea, which can happen if you take it too quickly or without water. And don't forget to check your medications. If you're taking insulin or other blood sugar lowering meds, ALA may increase their effect. That's not necessarily dangerous, but it does mean you should talk to your doctor before adding it to your routine. The same goes if you're on thyroid medication, as ALA can interact with how thyroid hormones are absorbed. Now, you might be wondering, where do I even find the good stuff? Look for ALA products that clearly state RALA on the label. Not just ALA, not a mystery blend. You want the form your body naturally uses, and avoid cheap, unregulated brands. Stick with supplement companies that follow GMP, good manufacturing practice, guidelines, the ones that test for purity and potency, and are transparent about where they source their ingredients. Even better if they use sustained-release formulas, which can offer gentler absorption and longer-lasting benefits throughout the day. Especially useful if you're using it for nerve support. But here's the bigger takeaway. Supplements aren't about chasing youth. They're about supporting what your body is already trying to do: heal, protect, and adapt. After 60, your body still works hard for you, every single day. But it needs support. And that support isn't always loud or obvious. Sometimes it's a quiet helper, like alpha-lipoic acid, working in the background, reducing the friction, clearing the fog, and helping you stay just a little stronger, a little steadier, and a little more you. Because aging doesn't mean giving up power. It means learning how to use it wisely. And when you start adding tools like this, simple, safe, science-backed habits that actually support how your cells age. That's when things begin to shift. You bounce back faster. You feel a bit clearer. You stay engaged in your life. That's not a miracle. That's just good strategy. So whether you decide to try ALA or not, here's the part I want you to remember. You're not just aging. You're evolving. And there's power in that. Because when you feel stronger, you do more. When you think clearer, you enjoy more. And when you stay informed, you live more. If this helped you feel more confident or informed, I'd love for you to stick around. Hit that like button if you found value here, and share it with someone who might benefit. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing. It's completely free, and every week we break down science-backed tips to help adults over 60 stay strong, sharp, and supported. Take care of your body. Take care of your mind. And remember, health doesn't have an expiration date. You deserve to feel good at every age.